Good evening and welcome to Cochrane Stadium for the spring exhibition game between Bowling Green and the Ashland Eagles. Lucas Clamar alongside Kevin Hutchinson with you. Interesting one. It's our first non-fall men's soccer game. It's our only second radio broadcast, I want to say, in the last couple of years. But it should be a good one nonetheless. It gives Eric Nichols, Kevin, a chance to see what he's got for the fall of 2026 and kind of mix things up around a little bit after a disappointing 2025.
Yeah, definitely, Lucas, and very excited to be here calling this game with you. The spring weather is great. We got some blue skies and long, streaky clouds, and this game is now underway.
Indeed it is. Bowling Green will be going from left to right in orange uniforms. Ashland will be going from right to left in their purple, so quite the clash we got here, orange versus purple. For Bowling Green, they're starting 11 for Nichols to roll out. This one is Enzo Gil and goal. You imagine him and ball will split time today. The back three is Saul Rios right in the middle. On the left center back is Gus Peacock, who's with the ball now on the left side. On the right center back is freshman Xavier Sims, who got a lot of minutes this past season. In the midfield is Joshua Saavedra, Mads Christensen, and Kawe Ramos in the midfield three. And up top on the wings is Aiden Patasic, number 14 on the right wingback spot. On the far left side is freshman Diego Ramirez, and the two striking pairs is Tyson McCoy and Adine Ibrahimovic. So quite a new-look team for Eric Nichols, now without Trace Terry, Andrew Schaefer, and a couple of other graduate players like Tyler Tosqueto and Giovanni Torres are no longer with the Falcons, as Ibrahimovic is chopped down on the far side. An early yellow card here in the Spring League game for the Ashland Eagles. We'll see who that is. That's Ibrahimovic chopped down right around the second minute.
Yeah, definitely some physicality that you wouldn't expect this early in a scrimmage game.
So it'll be a free kick opportunity here for Bowling Green on the far side, right in front of the Ashland bench. It'll be taken from Saul Rios or Aiden Batasic. I didn't think we would see a yellow card in the first 3 minutes, but here we are.
No, not at all. And in a way, it makes sense. I mean, these guys have been sort of raring to go. I mean, this is a great way for them to sort of stay in game shape and keep getting game experience. And so, of course, they're going to treat it like a real game.
Patasic ball into the box to the back post, looking for McCoy, not dealt with completely, and it cleared away from Ashland. That was Rodri Jimenez, senior forward. They're getting that one away. It's one back from Saavedra here on the near side. Here's McCoy. McCoy slides it through Ramos. Ramos slides through. It takes a deflection. Goes back to McCoy. It's off an Eagle hand. No penalty called. And it will be cleared off of Patasic and out of bounds for a throw-in.
And as you said, Lucas, bit of a disappointing season for the Falcons last year, going just 5-8-4 and only winning one Missouri Valley Conference game. Definitely something that they're going to want to improve on this fall.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing season. Only winning one conference game after making the MVC championship in 24. Missing out on the tournament completely. One of the two teams in the conference that did. And we know Nichols, and we'll know this team is going to want to be back in a big way when it comes to 2026. As Rios will get this one here on the near side, this is Xavier Sims, one of the freshmen, was an All-American, Columbus native, and they give this one to Ramos. And it'll be interesting, Kevin, to see what Bowling Green can do now without Trace Terry, the man who was second all-time program history in game-winning goals, and someone who was just really the face of this program in his last couple of years. And now you're looking to a couple of young sophomores in McCoy and Ibrahimovic to kind of carry that load. Yeah, for sure. That is very tough when you have one player who was sort of the majority of the offensive output for this team. And I think, as you said, Tyson McCoy, somebody to be excited about out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he played for the Michigan Wolves in the MLS Next League. And so brings some of that club experience to the team. And I think they're going to be looking for him to make some big plays. This ball will get all the way out to Rios. He'll give it to Ramos, who looks along the right side for Patasic. We'll see if he stays onside. The flag stays down. Patasic, one-time ball in the box. Ibrahimovic! And it's a great save from the Eagles. And it's going to go out of play, and it'll be a corner kick coming up for Bowling Green, but a great look nonetheless for Ibrahimovic and the Falcons.
Yeah, what a play there by Zach Harrison, the Ashland goalkeeper. He's a junior out of Columbus, Ohio. He had 5 appearances and 4 starts last season. 6 goals allowed and 10 saves in that span, and he's able to make the save to keep this game a 0-0 draw.
0-0. They will play 3 30-minute periods here with it being just a friendly. And this will be taken here on the far side from Batasic. It's a low-driven one. Not clear complete, goes right to McCoy, who strikes one, and it's blocked by a couple of Eagles. And Batasic recycling this one, hooks it way into the sky. And to Ramos. Ramos tries to put down a shot. He's dragged down by Tom Woodward, and it's going to be another foul. And this is going to be closer right on the top of the 18 and could be well in the striking range.
Yeah, we are seeing some of that physicality here early in there. Tom Woodward, the forward for Ashland, native of Manchester, England, one of a few Brits on this Ashland team. Last season, he had 8 goals and 5 assists, leading the team with 21 total points.
Yeah, Rios, who scored a free kick against Belmont this past season. He's the only returning Falcon next year that scored a goal, with now the departure of Bennett Painter, who transferred to Indiana, and Trace Terry, who graduated and began his professional career. We'll see if Rios elects to strike this one. It's taken, and now Rios will. It's blocked there from Andrew Bellacone. And Ashland looking to make their first attack come away. Saavedra intercepts the loose ball and just clears it out of bounds for a Eagle throw-in.
Yeah, you talk about Terry being drafted, taken by the Seattle Sounders in the MLS Super Draft in their 3rd round, so starting up that pro career, but definitely going to be missed here at BG.
Ball in the air. Woodward going to switch this one for the Eagles all the way to the far side. Diego Ramirez with some defensive work. He's registered this past year, didn't play at all in 2025. Gets to start in place of Andrew Schaefer's position there on the left wing spot. Wins that battle there, gets it to Christensen, gets it to Saavedra, loose first touch. Still with it, looks to put it forward and is dispossessed. Intercepted here from Ashland. This is Locatelli. Spreads out to the far side for Sergio Ruiz. Guarded here from Sims. Ruiz will hook across into the back post, looking for an Eagle there, and connecting was Hayden Clark, freshman from Goshen, Indiana, who couldn't just steer that one on target.
Yeah, a bit of a missed opportunity there for Ashland. We've seen these two teams kind of trading blows here early, and I almost wonder, doing 3 30-minute periods as opposed to those 2 halves, if that changes the game flow or if that's going to change kind of the strategy here. You get 2 chances to kind of freshen up your team as opposed to just 1. So it'll be interesting to see the kind of impact that has.
Indeed, and for Bowling Green, you don't have that many options off the bench now, with it being spring and, in the middle of preparation for your regular season in the fall. So you don't have a full team, but you have enough here for a bench. This ball up to Ibrahimovic, gets it to Patasic. Patasic, a nice little step over, trying to spray that one to the left side with Ramirez. It's intercepted and goes right to the feet of Saavedra. Bowling Green, as expected, probably with a lot of possession. Sims trying to flip this one to the left wing of Ramirez. It's too far out of bounds. It's a Bowling Green team that loves to possess the ball and have a lot of possession, but it's also an Ashland team that's a Division II team, and you would imagine with the level of both these teams that Bowling Green is going to have majority of the ball.
Yeah, I would definitely say so, but I think also with this being a friendly, there's less focus on winning outright and more focus on experimenting, trying different things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, to prepare for the fall.
So nearly 10 minutes played here in the first period. This ball deflected off. Gives it to Christensen, who will recycle it back to Rios. And Rios is someone that had a fight for a starting spot heading into last year. Was like the main starter in the back 3, along with Tosquedo and Suarez, who are no longer with the team. And now we'll get to start in the middle of the 3. Sims all the way to Peacock. Peacock gets it to Ramirez. Ramirez now to Ramos. Ramos trying to flick this one into the path of McCoy. It's intercepted from an Eagle. Now here's Hayden Clark, who gives it away just cheaply right to Christensen. Christensen all the way to Sims. Sims switching it again to Ramirez. Ramirez gets on this one here to the left side of the box. Offside flag goes up. So Ramirez will be just offside.
You talked earlier about some of the exciting freshman talent on this team, and there definitely is a lot. This sort of feels like a rebuild period for this Falcon program, and I think Coach Nichols is going to be seeing, who's ready for those big moments and who is ready to sort of shoulder more of that load this season.
That's a good point here, as now the Eagles on the move here. This is going to be Rodri Jimenez switching it to the right side. Here come the Eagles with their first chance of the game, and a shot is saved from Gio. That was Hayden Clark. Struck that with his left foot at the top of the 18. So the first real chance of the day for Ashland, and they'll earn a corner kick.
Yeah, what a solid effort there by Clark, just driving that kick right down the middle. The native of Goshen, Indiana, 13 appearances and 5 starts for Ashland last season. He had 1 goal and 1 assist, but still young, and I'm sure he'll be looking to add to those totals this season.
Throw-in from the near side, pardon me, and they got that one to the head of Dylan Featherstone, freshman from Ireland. 6'5" defender, almost 200 pounds, rose above Ibrahimovic there, and couldn't put that one on target. So that's a couple of nice looks there for the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something they're going to want to look to build on in this game, especially if they can keep the Falcons on their heels.
This is Saavedra, someone that you had the chance to sit down with in between, right towards the end of the season.
Yes, definitely. It was a great conversation we had, sort of highlighted his journey here from Colombia, sort of a Spanish piece of content there to highlight, that culture, which obviously has a big influence in this sport, and just was really impressed with, his passion for the game and for this team.
Sims, ball forward, looking for Ibrahimovic, trying to trap it down, and the offside flag will go up as he just timed his run just a bit off. And going back to Saavedra there, Kevin, with that is he was also just one of the many transfers that came into this team this past year. He's international, like you mentioned, from Colombia, but it was also his first year in the Midwest in Bowling Green, learning a new conference. There was a lot of growing pains probably that came along with that, and it was somebody that the team still has high expectations for.
Yeah, definitely, and what a change coming in from Long Island University, which, fun little fact, the Sharks did make the March Madness tournament this year. They lost to Arizona in the first round, but kind of cool to see them in the basketball playoffs.
Here's Peacock. We'll bring it forward here from the left side. There's only 3 true defenders on this roster now in the spring. There will be more brought in, obviously, in the fall. That will be true freshmen. But Sims, Rios, and Peacock will hold it down for the remainder of the games. The Falcons did play their first college spring league game last week against Michigan, a 1-1 tie up in Ann Arbor. Obviously, this is just a friendly game. They will resume CSL play next week when they go host Ohio State, and then they will play at Akron before finishing out at Historic Crew Stadium in Columbus. So a couple of nice tune-up games here in the spring.
Yeah, for sure, and it's just a great opportunity for this team to test out and get ready for the fall. I mean, it's something that not every sport obviously does, but something they're going to take advantage of for sure.
Here's a ball through for Ramos. It's going to be cleared away. Bowling Green returning pretty much all their midfield from last season, especially in the center of the park. Right now it's Christensen, Ramos, and Saavedra. Rajko Badurov did play in the U.S. Open Cup with the Flint City Bucks midweek, so he's on the bench to start this one. Here's a long throw and taken from Gus Peacock, flight in the box. It's flicked on. Still looking for Peacock, and going to fall to McCoy, who couldn't strike it cleanly. And then it's just cleared away here from Ashland. Peacock will get it right back. We'll cross this one to the box, down to the near side, looking for Rios, and it's just flicked away. Once again, that was Featherstone. He'll be out for a throw-in.
Yeah, and that's just another chance by Bowling Green trying to get aggressive here down near the opposite net, not able to complete. But good play there by Featherstone, native of Julianstown, Ireland, and as you said earlier, 6'5", easily the tallest player on the pitch for either of these teams.
Sims ball flooded into the box, not clear completed. Now it falls to Rios, and I think it took a couple of deflections. Indeed, it did not. They're going to say just goal kick, but Rios almost put that one on frame. So the goal kick coming up here from Ashland, and close to about 15 minutes, almost midway through the first period, and I think if you're Bowling Green, you got to be pretty happy, but I think that best chance, probably the half, probably came from that cross from Batasic to Ibrahimovic, but Harrison made a really good save from Ashland.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to keep taking those chances. They're going to be aggressive, especially since there aren't really any stakes in a friendly matchup, at least in the traditional sense. I mean, pride's always at stake, but definitely want to play loose and play free.
Christensen will flip this one into the box with Tasik, and he's just offside.
I believe that's now 3 offside flags for the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. So just working out some of those rough patches, but obviously not something that you want to continue with here in this game.
Batasic is kind of a Swiss Army knife for Bowling Green. He will be entering still his redshirt junior year next year. He redshirted his first year, got some minutes in 24, and then this past season got a handful of starts and played some off the bench. He had a big role for the team in the fall. He can play in the central midfield part, but as you see tonight, he's out on the right wing. And he can be able to show his versatility, be able to play in multiple different spots for head coach Eric Nichols.
For sure, and for a team that's rebuilding and adding so much new talent, having a versatile player who can fill multiple roles, I think, is really important.
And a quick whistle blown, and they're going to have a conversation with Sims and Woodward for Ashland. Might have been some fighting off the ball that the referee didn't like. Yeah, he's still watching them here. I'll throw this one in the Woodward. Sims got in front of that one for Woodward. It was blast off an eagle and be a Falcon throw.
That's a good turn here for the Falcons.
Sims also somebody that Nichols got a lot of minutes off the bench in 2025, but he did play him in the right wing, which is not his natural position. It's more of a center back, which is what he's playing now. But he was so talented that Nichols just wanted to give him minutes on the field. Ramos, nice through ball forward for Batasic. Batasic got a touch forward for McCoy. McCoy tried to flick it back to Batasic, but McCoy was offside. And Kevin, you mentioned it. That's 4 offsides, I believe, for Falcons, and now that's the third in just a handful of minutes.
Definitely, and I'm sure Coach Nichols is not happy about that. I mean, those are the kind of mistakes that, even though it is a friendly, obviously, and the friendlies are for working those things out, I mean, that's obviously a repeated issue that they're going to want to get to the bottom of and get to the bottom of fast.
So substitute coming in for Bowling Green, that's Raiko Badurov, number 7. We'll check into the match for BG, and I do believe checking out was Kaue Ramos. So Badurov will play that attacking mid role, and Ramos will get a breather. And someone in Badurov, Kevin, that they're really building around. If you look at just promotion around the team right now in the offseason, Badurov's been kind of the face around a lot of the posters, especially BGSU One Day, for example, with men's soccer.
Yeah, definitely, and it's understandable why. I mean, he has a lot of talent. He's versatile. You see him now handling the ball, and as you said, going to be a big player here with Trace Terry gone.
Tasa gets this one all the way out to Rios and the Peacock. Will spray a long ball looking for McCoy. Ibrahimovic fighting for the second ball. It's headed back, headed up. Not clear completely. Badurov, nice touch, top of the 18. Gets it to Ibrahimovic, back to McCoy. Gets it back to Ibrahimovic. The shot is blocked. Inside the 18, Badurov trying to lay it off to Ramirez. That one's cleared away. So Eagles survive. Some good defending there in tight quarters. As Peacock going to keep that one on the far side. It'll be an Ashland throw-in.
And Peacock, I think, also someone you're going to see his role kind of expand this coming year. He had 7 starts last season. I'm sure that number is going to increase this coming year. And state champion in high school for Wyoming High School. Yeah. So pretty accomplished player as well.
Well, if you remember, too, Kevin, he started, I want to say, every game in 2024, but obviously this past year he got hurt at Michigan, which kind of led to his appearances being limited, and he did get a handful of starts here, but really just down the stretch of the season, he just never could find that form that Nichols could trust him back into the starting lineup with Rios, Suarez, and Toscado. So he ended up just kind of really being a bench piece, really, and for him, he is going to need to be important next year. He's one of the few seniors that this team's going to have, especially one of the few veterans on the back line.
For sure, and that's going to be a unique challenge having such a young team this upcoming season.
Yes.
I mean, Nichols, he's been around for the better part of 2 decades. He knows how to work with anybody, but when you have a young team, you're going to have a lot of issues that you got to work out in a very short period of time.
Here is Saavedra to Ramirez. Flicks this one to Badurov. Badurov finds it right wing here to Patasic. Patasic now taking his defender on. Got it back Badurov. Got almost every Ashland player behind the ball. There's just Woodward up top now. He's chasing down Christensen to provide some frontline pressure. Here's Peacock now to Ramirez. Ramirez to Christensen. Bowling Green just trying to break Ashland down. The Eagles are staying put. This one to McCoy. There, his touch is a little bit strong and it's given back away to the Eagles. Trying to dribble out of danger there is Ashland. That was Marley Marshall who ran right into McCoy, but they get it right back. Marshall there loses his footing initially, gets it passed to the right back of the Eagles. McCoy trying to win it back. Nice one-touch passing to get all the way out here to the left wing here of Sergio Ruiz. Ruiz flicks it long, looking for Woodward. It's slided up and dealt with there from Peacock and right into the foot of Christensen.
And you look at Ruiz for Ashland. Talk about an accomplished high school player. He was first-team All-State, 3-time All-Region, and a 2-time state champ in high school, so definitely brought quite a resume to Ashland.
Long ball, that one was for Ramirez. He's in a battle there with Marshall there. It's going to go out of bounds for an Eagle throw-in.
A lot of back and forth, maybe a few more throw-ins and a few more stoppages in this game than maybe we might have expected.
It's interesting, too, because you don't really know who is still going to take that spot from Schaefer. Now it's Ramirez on that left wing, kind of left wing back spot, but Ramirez, similar to Schaefer, is dominantly right-footed, so he's kind of inverted there on the left side, similar to Schaefer, but Ramirez is a little bit of a different player, more of a speedy guy. Schaefer more of an inverted guy, likes to break players down and take them one-on-one. So we'll see if that remains the same for when we get to the fall in 26. This one's Badurov here on the right wing. Badurov crossing off of Ruiz. It's deflected out, and it will be a Falcon corner kick coming up. And we've seen Patasic take them on the far side. This will be on the near side. And Patasic taking it with his right foot to be an in-swinging ball. And this is going to be actually Saul Rios who will take it with the left. So it'll be another in-swinging ball that will go towards the net of Zach Harrison. We'll see if the Falcon get on the end of it.
Definitely a big chance here for BG to try to break this stalemate.
Here's Rios, puts his hand up, ready to go. This one flighted to the back post, looking for McCoy, got his head on him, and just right into the gloves there of Harrison. And Harrison looking to spread this one quick and get this one up here to Rodri Jimenez. And Jimenez has that one pocketed there from Christian to halt a possible Ashland counterattack.
Yeah, Jimenez, one of the seniors for this Ashland squad coming out of Madrid, Spain. He had 17 starts last year for Ashland, and he's one of many European players on this squad.
About 5 minutes left here in this first period. 0-0, Bowling Green and Ashland. Here in a friendly game here in Spring League. Ramirez crossed into the box looking for Ibrahimovic. The flag went up for offside regardless, and it's headed out of bounds.
And it looks there like that was number 38 getting in there on the breakup for Ashland. That was Antonio Soto, the defenseman, coming out of Painesville, Ohio.
Definitely a larger Ashland roster. You see it on the bench for the Eagles, a lot of selection, more so than the Falcons. Here's Ruiz. On a 1-2, Ruiz trying to keep this one in play, and the flag goes up there in the nick of time to stop a possible Eagles scoring opportunity. It's worth also knowing, Kevin, for obviously with our radio listeners, you can't see the field, but the field's in great condition, and this is only the second game I want to say that obviously the women's team had a scrimmage against Finley here last week, and really besides that, there hasn't been a lot of action on this field at all. The grass looks in top shape for it to be after what was a pretty brutal winter here in the 419.
Yes, it does indeed. It looks nice and even and healthy, which is definitely good for this game.
Ibrahimovic will be called for the foul. Now providing some press here to Ashland, looking to build out of it. Long ball to top, looking for Ruiz. Sims comes to meet it, kind of overstep. Rios on Woodward. Saavedra heads it down right to the feet of Badurov. Badurov spins around inside the foot pass, looking to switch it to Ramirez, and nicely cut off there from Marshall. And it goes right to the Eagles. And looking to switch this one again, this time looking for Woodward in the left wing. They've been really favoring this kind of right side of the fence for Bowling Green, the left wing for Ashland, and spin that side of Xavier Sims. So they're trying to test the freshman here in this first period.
And that's what Coach Nichols is going to be paying attention to, is how well does Sims handle that pressure? How well does he handle that challenge? And I think we're going to see the answer to that as this game continues.
Sims looking long for Patasic. A bit too strong. McCoy going to track it down. And it's going to be out of bounds for a throw-in for Ashland as it took a deflection off of McCoy.
Looks like Featherston just kind of got rid of it there.
I think if you're Ashland, Kevin, if you go into the first period, still lock at zeros. We only have a handful. We've just about under 4 minutes left here before we hit the 30-minute mark. You got to be pretty happy from a D1 team on the road as well, and you get a scoreless first 30 minutes. If you're playing a competitive game, you get 15 minutes, and then it's halftime 0-0 against a Division I team.
Definitely. I think for Ashland, you want to try to do a war of attrition, get the Falcon team tired, because it's going to be harder to score, I think, as the game goes on. So I do agree that keeping it scoreless would be good for Ashland.
We kind of hinted at it a little bit in the start of the first period, but we're really just thinking who for Bowling Green is going to put the goals in. They had Trace Terry gone. Obviously, he was the main guy. Past 3 seasons, really, for Bowling Green. Bennett Painter transferred to Indiana for his senior year was obviously a big loss. He had 6 goals for Nichols this past season, and he only had 1 goal returning in Rios. So you're really just looking at McCoy and Ibrahimovic and just a bunch of young ones to really step up and find the back of the net consistently.
For sure, and I think that's going to be really the challenge. Obviously, last season being such a disappointing year, you kind of have to restock, reload, and get these guys up to speed, because even though a lot of these guys did play club and play high school, you know, the Division I college level, it's just a whole different game.
Patasic tried to thread the needle to McCoy. Passes just behind him and kind of misplay out of bounds from Ashland will result into another Falcon throw. Sims, early cross into the box, back post for Ramirez, heads it back to Ibrahimovic, and couldn't steer that one on goal. Wow, what a great chance for the Falcons, and another great chance for Ibrahimovic that goes begging.
Yeah, just a narrow miss, tried to get it between the pipes, and it just rolled off to the side, just a little more of just a couple feet to the left, and that would have been in, but no dice there.
Well, great cross there from Sims to put that one in the box, and Ramirez tried to just head that one across the 6, and Ibrahimovic there, he wasn't expecting it or just couldn't get full contact on it. Regardless, it will remain 0-0 with under 1:30 left to play here in the first, and that was Enzo Gio getting one of his first touches on the ball. Had to make really one big save on Clark early in this first period, and besides that, hasn't been much for him. For a team that is really, at all intents and purposes, still trying to figure out that number 1 keeper between Gio and Ball. They both split time this past season, and I think the number 1 shirt's still up for grabs.
Yeah, for sure, and I was just going to mention that how the Falcons have been doing a good job keeping pressure off the goalie, but I think that's great when you have a competition trying to figure out your starting keeper. I think it brings out the best in both guys, and that's what you're going to see.
Tasic just couldn't keep that one in play. And I do believe we have just about 45 seconds left and counting. Can't say they didn't have your chances if you're Bowling Green. It's come from this right flank of Batasic into feet and head of Ibrahimovic. Just haven't been able to put it in the back of the net so far. We still have 60 minutes of soccer left to be played here at Cochran Stadium. Rios will look long once again. Looking for McCoy and Ibrahimovic, but smartly Zach Harrison off his line to collect. Sims, nicely done there to close it down off the long pass, and McCoy is chopped down. And another yellow card is going to be issued. That's the second one this half. That's going to be the furthest end. That's the second Falcon, the second striker that's just been hacked.
Yeah, and once again, you're surprised to see that kind of physicality in a game that technically doesn't count, but, Featherston obviously playing there with some intensity. And I think for BG, you got to find a way to respond and try to find a way to assert your will on this game.
Well, he must have just won the first period to come to a close, and he just decided to go on in there. But that's how the first 30 minutes will end. 0-0 Bowling Green and Ashland. Will take a quick step aside, and we'll come back for the second period for the spring exhibition game between Bowling Green and Ashland. You'll listen to BGSU men's soccer right here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Baseball dedicates the new turf playing surface at Stellar Field in the second game of the series against Ohio on Saturday, March 21st.
Tune into the call by Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavlitz and Noah Seeley at 12:45 p.m. for pregame and 1 p.m. for first pitch on Falcon Radio, streaming on bgfalconmedia.com.
Your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Over the past 2 years, your support on One Day has helped Falcon Media Sports Network make over 100 trips to over 15 states and travel over 50,000 miles covering BGSU athletics. Any donation on One Day, even just $5, will help us to improve on this gold standard level of student media coverage. The official giving period is from 6 a.m. on March 25th to 6 p.m. on March 26th. However, the early giving period is open. To donate, go to bgsu.edu/oneday and select the Falcon Media Fund. I zig.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Trey Kennedy from the Falcon Media Sports Network. BGSU's biggest annual fundraising event, One Day, is nearly here. Falcon Media Sports Network and BG Falcon Media rely on donations from One Day to continue to be the gold standard for student media coverage. As a beat reporter covering BG women's basketball, it's been such an honor getting the opportunity to travel on the road with the team by broadcasting their games for the Falcon Media Sports Network. To name a couple, I've been able to travel to Ball State and Central Michigan to broadcast, all because of the money donated during One Day. Any donation, even just $5, will go a long way in supporting and funding BG Falcon Media and Falcon Media Sports Network, with 100% of the donations supporting student media at BGSU, including funding for our equipment, travel, and other day-to-day expenses in our year-round coverage of Falcon Athletics. The official giving period is from 6 a.m. on March 25th to 6 p.m. on March 26th. However, the early giving period is open. To donate, go to bgsu.edu/oneday and select the Falcon Media Fund.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
Back here, ready to begin the second period here at Cochran Stadium between Bowling Green and Ashland. The Falcons and the Eagles here in spring exposition. We still have about a minute, I want to say, on the clock here before both teams take the field. It's going to be a couple changes for Bowling Green. Jason Ball will be in goal for the second 30-minute period, and I do believe we have a couple other field players coming in. There's a couple players on the bench that Nichols can choose from, but Kevin, those first 30 minutes, what'd you make of it? It kind of seemed like it was in towards Bowling Green's favor, but, a couple really good chances from Ibrahimovic, but just couldn't put him in the back of the net.
Yeah, I sort of interpreted those first 30 minutes just some mental mistakes by the Falcons. I mean, I think we counted 4 offside flags. Obviously, in a 30-minute period of play, not really ideal. I mean, I think that's a big part of why this game is still all at level. I think BG is going to play a bit more aggressive here in this second period. But yeah, overall, just a feeling out process, a lot of young players and trying to get them moving.
Indeed, they are. For Bowling Green, they do have a couple of selections on the bench, but it's important to note that Name Mehic, a redshirt freshman that missed all of last year, is not available. He's a forward, and we'll be interested to see what his role is in the fall. Michael Lynn, also a forward, didn't seem to be warming up, so we don't know for sure if he's available for selection or not. He still is over there on the bench for Bowling Green, but you go down the list, you have a couple of players, but you limit a few with injuries. Sawyer Wilbanks being one, also someone similar to Ramirez, redshirted last year and didn't play a single minute. He's available off the bench for Nichols. Bradley Popple, a midfielder, kind of a right wing back kind of player, transferred from Air Force, and someone that you thought was in contention to start really last year and only really played a handful of games off the bench for Eric Nichols. And really, besides that, you don't have that many else really to choose from off the bench right now, just with the bodies and the way this roster is right now with the spring league. You do have Will Schutte, third-string goalie, but don't believe he's going to see much action as well.
For sure, and I would be surprised if Popple didn't see any action at all. I mean, I think in a spring league game you want to cycle those players through, and as you said, transferred in from Air Force, and a Gatorade Player of the Year in 2023 when he was still playing high school soccer in Cincinnati. So I think an interesting sort of element for this lineup if Coach Nichols decides to put him in.
Indeed. He played at Moeller High School, which was a team in the GCL. One of the best teams, went to state final, lost in that one. He's one of the most decorated players in Ohio, as Bowling Green will retake the field. We'll see who they have for sure. Popple, when he came off the bench this past season, he was playing on the right wing, which is where Patasic is. Can play in the central. He's played in multiple spots. You would think just coming in he'd be that Anthony Hernandez replacement, but so far hasn't gotten a start, at least in spring. But again, Nichols is trying to try a couple things out and see what he likes. And for example, tonight, I mean, Ibrahimovic getting the start against Ashland and Michigan. The starting strikers was McCoy and Madura, so Ibrahimovic getting his first start. He had a couple of good chances in that first period. So it's all about just trying a good mixture, seeing what you like.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about replacing specific players. I would bet one of the toughest parts of being a coach, not just in soccer, but in any sport, is a lot of times you don't have that one-to-one replacement. You know, one player leaves. It's hard to find a player to maybe fill that exact hole or fill that exact vacancy. And you got to kind of try to adapt and see what's the best holistic product you can put out there based on the personnel you have.
So Jason Ball will be in goal. He came and got his first collegiate start when Bowling Green beat NKU at home this past season, 2-0 at home. Enzo Gio got benched after the 3-0 loss against Evansville in the Open Up Missouri Valley Conference play. And it still just looks like they're just trying to find that number one goalie in the net. And it's been that way since Brendan Graves graduated at the end of 2024. And we'll see if someone can just really solidify that heading into 26, or if maybe Will Schutte comes in the fray, or maybe there's a transfer on the way. You never know. But it seems that those two have getting a lot of trust for Nichols.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, one of the most important positions in the game. Some would argue the most important, so you definitely want to get that right and make sure it's someone you can trust in a high-pressure situation and also just in your everyday situations. So should be interesting to see what Nichols decides based on these spring games.
So for Bowling Green, it looks like to be most of the same. Yeah, Sims, Rios, Peacock, the same back three. Patasic will still remain on the right wing. So it looks like Popple is going to actually be on the left wing. So he comes in for Diego Ramirez to start the second period. And you still have Saavedra, Christensen, and I believe that is Ramos in the midfield three, and then Badurov and McCoy will be the two strikers up top. So Ramirez and Ibrahimovic will both get a breather to start here the second half.
And I think that's smart. Ibrahimovic obviously made a lot of plays in the first half, or first period. It's so
It's
odd.
different now.
It's very bizarre, these three periods. So trying to get used to that here.
Well, second period underway, and it's given away quickly to Tyson McCoy, who takes a quick strike, and it's parried away to the left there from Harrison. Picked up here from Badurov. So immediately from kickoff, Bowling Green on the attack. McCoy gets it to Ramos, who clears it up over the net and almost out of Cochran Stadium. And it was just a simple ball from Ashland played back to their center back, who kind of just stepped over the ball, lost balance, and McCoy picks it up there and almost put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, what a great chance there by McCoy. And he sort of flashed some of that promise of what you want to see, the aggression, the decisiveness. And that was just a incredibly powerful kick, but the Ashland keeper was ready for it.
Another big save there from Harrison, Columbus, Ohio, Upper Arlington native. Ball over the top, flag stays down on Tyson McCoy. McCoy again in the box. We'll cut around. Try to keep that one in play and pass it around. Can't do so. McCoy been dangerous. Ashland just dumps it out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in coming up.
Yeah, he's definitely someone who's going to be interesting. We're talking about McCoy here, 5'10", 150 pounds, but very fast, very athletic, and able to take advantage of a lot of those offensive chances.
Ball on its way, flicked on from Ramos. Patasic there, not cleared still. Badurov looking for the header. Ashland still, that one was headed up from Chase Murrell. Christensen trying to head it back into the fray. Popple had this one in. No one really attacking the ball there from Ashland. Now they get on it finally here. This one's going to be taken from Marshall. Here's Woodward. Woodward switches it here to left lane. Hayden Clark. Clark had the best chance really on goal for Ashland that first period. It's given away and one back there for Patasic, who tried to just backheel it back to Sims and just backheels it out of play.
Aiden Patasic, interestingly, both of his parents played Division I college soccer. His father played at Akron. His mother played at Ohio State. So you could say it's in his blood to be at this level.
And someone who's really just battled, like we mentioned, they're not playing his freshman season in 2023 and getting some minutes in 24, scoring a goal even against Detroit Mercy and getting a starting spot to begin 25 and came off the bench a handful of games and tried to make his mark here. I still have to fight for his playing time, but had an important role last year nonetheless, and his role is going to only get more important next season. We'll get this one on the left wing here for Popple. Saavedra almost lost that one. That was Woodward. They're tracking that one right from behind. Here's Sims. Sims, a long switch here looking. That's Ramos tracking there on the far side. See if it keeps it in play, and he's kind of sling bladed. And it's going to be a foul on Ashland. It's a WWE move there on the far side, far corner flag, and we'll see who that is on Ashland. I don't know if you can see who that is, Kevin, but the foul nonetheless.
Yeah, I might need to get my prescription worked on. It's a little far from here, but yeah, just surprised by the physicality and the aggression we're seeing from this Ashland team. Multiple fouls for them.
I believe that's number 25, Braden Fodor, sophomore defender from Black Lake, Ohio. And so it'll be a foul. It's basically a shorter corner kick right by the sideline and to the left of the corner flag. It's on that far side, and it will be on the foot of Rajko Badurov. Here's Badurov. In swinging ball, driven in. Harrison got a hand to it, cleared the Popple, who recycles it back in, and Harrison will just scoop it up. Harrison looking to go quick. And we'll go all the way to his left side. Here's Featherton, who's on a yellow card for a minute of this one, and that one, it looked like it went out of bounds, and it did not. Nice little flick. Now here comes Ashland. In swinging ball. Arlo, and Jason Ball comes off his line to collect that one. That was Marshall tracking down on that one.
Really good play there by Ball, the redshirt sophomore from Miamisburg, Ohio. He started the last 8 matches of the season last year and had a .708 save percentage.
We mentioned the NKU game where he got his first win. Also got his first collegiate shutout in that 2-0 win. Will play his summer ball with the Dayton Dutch Lions in USL League 2 play this upcoming summer. As this one is looking for the direction, I believe, of Tyson McCoy, but it goes all the way out of bounds, and it'll be a goal kick for Ashland. And for Bowling Green, again, early, had another great attempt, but Harrison was to it.
Yeah, Harrison's been sharp today for the Eagles. He has responded whenever he's needed to.
Trying to cross that one along the flank was Clark, and it's a through ball forward. McCoy gets through for Featherston. He's already on a yellow card. This should be a second yellow, and indeed it is. So we have a red card here in Spring League action, and that is on Dylan Featherston.
I'll tell you, Lucas, of all the things I expected to see in a Spring League game, a red card was not one of them. Talk about maybe doing a little too much in a situation where it's really not necessary.
It was a through ball forward to Tyson McCoy. Featherston was the last defender. They were entering the 18-yard box. Featherston slid to the ground, tripped up McCoy, didn't get much of the ball, and it will be an early night for Featherston. It's just about under 23 minutes left here in this second period. Now, Ashland's going to be down a man. You would imagine, unless it's just a friendly game, they decide to resume with 11. We'll see here.
Looks like might be Riki Soto who just came on to replace.
So it looks like they'll remain with 10 then on the field, which would make sense in a friendly game. But obviously, if there's a game of consequence, they'll be down a man in the rest of the game. We'll see if we can count. There is still 4, 8. No, there might be 10. We'll count here in a moment. And to Sal Rios, who strikes it on Harrison and makes a save. The follow-up on Sims goes right into the palms of Harrison once again.
What an incredible play there.
And now we got a potential head injury here. The two sides went up for a header. And now we have an Eagle down. And the training staff will come on for Bowling Green.
Certainly not ideal. Hard to see right now who it is on the ground there.
So they'll stop the clock, I believe, with about 22:37 left to play in this second period. And
looks like that was 23 for Ashland, who got injured there on that play. And
Marshall.
Indeed, Marley Marshall, sophomore, redshirt sophomore, out of Lexington, Kentucky, the only Bluegrass State native on this team. And he had 12 starts last year.
So they'll resume here with a drop ball, and it does appear, Kevin, that they're going to remain with 10. Obviously, 11 is the field players if you count the keeper, but 10 field players still appear to be out there for Ashland, unless I'm miscounting.
No, I do believe you're right.
Right now, I only see 9 because they had to take Marshall off, but I do believe they'll resume with a full 10 outfield players.
It's getting darker here at Cochran Stadium. You see the orange lights at the Doit right behind Cochran Stadium. Those are lit.
So we'll resume play here on the far side. It'll be a Popple throw-in for Bowling Green. Ashland will play all the way back. Badurov, and just almost like a screen there was being prevented there from Badurov from rushing the keeper. Here come the Eagles once more. Here's Jimenez. That pass closed off there from Sims. Right to the foot of Badurov. Here's Badurov. Trying to use his speed. Badurov. And a heavy shove there. And no foul call. That was from Clark. Here's Sims. Christensen now flying this one over to the left wing, looking for a Popple. Right to Harrison once again. And I think Ashland's playing a little bit more physicality and a little bit more intensity.
Yes, for sure. I think they're figuring they might as well be aggressive because given the circumstances, they kind of have to be.
There's Ramos, and a foul going to be called there. Otherwise, there was a Falcon running in on goal.
Yeah, definitely not a well-timed foul. It was Lewis Hill of Ashland who was taken down on that play, the redshirt sophomore from Stockport, England. As we said earlier, multiple Brits on this team.
Playing with fire there, Ashland in the 6-yard box. There was 3 Falcons pressuring. Harrison just blew it up and away and goes right to the path of Saul Rios. Saavedra looking long, trying to switch this one for the left wing. It's not clean. Ramos trying to feather one through. It's cut off nicely there from the Eagles in the midfield. Picked up here in the center. Nice ball all the way through. Sims gets beat. This is Hayden Clark bursting through. Clark takes a strike on goal, and Ball has to parry it. Loose ball in the net there, and the follow-up is saved once again from Ball. Another good look there from Ashland, and that was, I believe, Marshall again there on the follow-up.
Yeah, Ashland, you see, kind of taking this game by the horns. You can feel the momentum shift. They're just bringing a lot of pressure, and BG has been able to respond so far, but I think if you're Bowling Green, you got to try to take that momentum back here in this game.
Here's Badura. Bowling Green still going from left to right on your radio dial. Ashland going from right to left. Here's Peacock again. Peacock trying to get that through to Ramos. Dispossessed. I'll find this one all the way to the feet of Rios. Here's Peacock again. And Rios looking long once more. That one's just a bit too strong there from Badura.
Yeah, it would have been a great pass if it had dropped about 8 feet sooner than it did.
Popple reads that long ball from Ashland. Eagles now with a little bit of possession. They'll pass along the back line. Dispossessed there from Ramos, and the pass just couldn't get to Badurov. A handful of times Ramos has been able to intercept one of those loose balls. Here's Woodward, who's playing further back. They clear this one up long. Here's Rios. Sims. Checking that one with Jimenez. Ball again looking to this right wing here for Batasic. It's one here. Falls to the feet of Clark. Here is Clark. Ashland will recycle McCoy with some pressure. Ramos gets a touch away. They boot this one up long to the right wing. Peacock with some defending to do. Peacock does well there to win it back. Did really well there to shove off the Ashland attacker there and to get it back to Rios.
Looks like the Falcons trying to play a bit of possession, maybe slow this game down and try to regain control.
Simmons gets this one to Peacock. Here's Rios. Rios looking long for Batasic. Let's see if he stayed on side. Batasic. Flag stays down. Batasic in the box. Batasic, a nice little step over. Into Badurov. Badura lays it off. Saavedra. It's too crowded there inside the box. Ashland deals away with it, and they'll clear it away. Long pass looking up forward. Rios, and he'll give it all the way back to Jason Ball. Sims, and that's just a lazy pass. It's picked off here from Ashland. Right to the feet there of Lewis Hill. Hill, Woodward a long strike there, takes a deflection. Rios back defensively and just has to clear this one away.
Yeah, as you're seeing, Falcons once again trying to get those scoring chances, but it always just seems like something's a little off with the passes and just the coordination and just not able to cash in. And here we are about halfway through this game and still no score for either of these teams.
Change coming in for the Eagles. Coming in is number 7, Julio Aguno, Brazilian midfielder. And they'll get on this one, and it's a clearance that only went as top of the 18, and that was Hill striking the volley that just grazed over Jason Ball's crossbar and off target.
Jason Ball, as we said, competing for that starting goalkeeper spot with Enzo Gil. He was the Greater Western Ohio Conference Goalkeeper of the Year back-to-back years in high school. So definitely brings that pedigree, sort of emphasizes just a lot of talent, but the D1 level really is very rigorous.
Indeed it is, and someone who's a stand-up Miamisburg High School. Also played basketball at Miamisburg High School, two-sport athlete.
I think that's definitely something that coaches look for, is that multi-sport pedigree, because you learn, body control, you'll learn those athletic skills, even if it's in a different sport.
Woodward trying to flick this one onto the right wing. He's dragged down. It'll be a foul. One there from Ashland. And it'll be a free kick. And I don't think it's been as good as the second period as it's been the first for Bowling Green, at least attacking-wise. Besides that McCoy opportunity, seconds into the second period, they really haven't had a whole lot.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of those near misses for Bowling Green so far, which is frustrating, especially given that you're playing a lower division opponent. But we'll see what happens.
We go right to Ramos, who gives it to McCoy. Here's Popple. And Peacock will get this one to Rios. They're still in this left wing here for Bowling Green. Here's Popple again. Now this is actually for Tyson McCoy. Try to use his speed to get around. Now McCoy with some press on Harrison. Goes it right to McCoy. McCoy to Bodurov. Open net for Bowling Green. Bodurov! And there's the opening goal for Bowling Green. They finally make Harrison pay off a mistake. Bodurov slots it in the bottom of the net with his left foot. 1-0 Bowling Green in the second.
What a score there for Bowling Green. I think you really thought that Harrison was just going to catch that and field it with his hands, but he kicks it back. It gets deflected, and Bodurov is right there, takes advantage. And now the Falcons, we talked about them wanting to cash in on one of those chances. That's exactly how you make that happen.
So it was a pass that went right to the foot of Tyson McCoy, who passed it to Raiko Bodurov, who slotted in the net for his first goal of the spring, and someone that we mentioned that is going to be very important for Bowling Green into next season. And, I mean, there's been a couple of just loose passes, not from just Harrison, but the backline of Ashland, that Bowling Green just hasn't been able to make them pay. But Bodurov does there.
Yeah, I think that one is absolutely crucial. You're going to go into this second intermission, ideally leading if you can hold Ashland for these last 13 or so minutes.
And Ashland off the restart will just play this one out of bounds, and it'll be a Falcon throw. And it's got to be frustrating for the Eagles. You play nearly 45 minutes of scoreless soccer against a Division I opponent, and the way they get on the board is just from a self-inflicted mistake.
Definitely, and that was a bit of a puzzling decision there by Harrison to not just field that with his hands. I was surprised to see him kick it back, and I'm sure that's something he's going to have to reflect on.
McCoy tried to flick this one back to Bradley Popple, who struck it, but it was blocked. Offside flag did go up on McCoy initially.
And it's interesting, Ashland also had, sort of by their standard, a bit of a disappointing season last year, similar to BG. They only had 4 wins under head coach Nick Roberts after having 10 wins the previous year. So they're also going to be looking to get back into form for 2026.
And Bowling Green had a losing record of 5-8-4, and like you mentioned, Kevin, just one win in Missouri Valley Conference play. That followed up a 12-win season in 24, an MVC championship appearance, and looking it back in that picture next year. Ashland getting some pressure from the Bowling Green front line once again. Harrison gets this one out to the right back. Ramos puts in a tackle, goes right to Harrison, and they'll get Ramos for a quick little foul.
For sure, these teams haven't been afraid to be physical and really put effort into this game, which is something you have to admire. You know, you see guys out there really competing, and it's made for some good soccer here so far.
Another foul called there on Bowling Green. Interesting enough, we haven't seen Sawyer Wilbanks for Bowling Green. That's the only field player that is healthy and that hasn't seen minutes yet. We'll see if he ends up doing so. And that pass, pressure being provided from the K6, forced a one-time hit there out of bounds there from Ashland.
Yeah, Lucas, that is something interesting I noticed as well with Will Banks. Currently a freshman. He will be a sophomore in the fall, and he was an All-Ohio first-team selection as a high school senior in 2024. And how about this? His 4-year high school record, 59-9-8. Only lost 9 games in 4 years as a high school player.
Definitely a historic high school career. So it's 1-0 Bowling Green over Ashland with 10 minutes to go here in the second period at Cochran Stadium. Ramos dispossessed Ashland again. Bodurov. And the popple, just a heavy touch inside the box, and it rolls right into the path of Harrison. Lucas Clymer alongside Kevin Hutchison with you here for this exhibition game in the spring between Bowling Green and Ashland, as the Eagles there trying to find Jimenez on the left wing, and it just goes out of bounds.
That was Noah Brock there on the pass, just arced it a little too high. Another Brit from Bournemouth, England, a transfer from West Virginia Wesleyan.
Steve Peacock, who's playing the left center back spot, and we saw him predominantly on the right throughout his entire Bowling Green career. He tried to play in the middle. It didn't work out. Had his long ball looking for Badurov. It's dispossessed and right in the hands of Harrison.
Harrison, it seems, kind of learning his lesson from last time rather than kicking that back into the pitch, just fields it with his hands.
Sims to McCoy. Badurov. Badurov inside the box. Right wing Badurov. And to McCoy, trying to flick this one through. Can't do so. Saavedra stays with it. Eagles in a fight. Sims, a nice tackle. Sticking his right leg out to stop that potential Eagles attack.
What a play that was by Sims. Definitely an eye-popping play. I don't think the Eagles expected him to intercept the ball like that.
Sims will be a sophomore in the fall of 26. Played a handful of minutes off the bench. He was the only defender in the freshman class this past season. And it looks like he's getting the trust in that start along the back line in one of the 3 center back spots for head coach Eric Nichols.
And he brings some height to this team, 6'2". You can kind of see that height relative to some of the other players out there, and creates a big advantage, especially for a defender when you're trying to win some of those headers and try to dispossess the ball.
Long pass. There's an Eagle slip there on the far side, and offside flag will go up on Ramos.
Ramos, obviously trying to continue and develop his role within the team, native of Olinda, Brazil. And he had 10 starts last season. And so I think just you see with those South American players, they bring a lot of that high-level skill.
Giveaway again from Harrison and went right to the foot of McCoy, who struck a shot from the top of the box that went right to the hands of Harrison, who went down to his left to make the save. Harrison again passes one right to the path there of Popple. This is Bodurov maneuvering on the left wing. Bodurov inside the box. Bodurov still gliding. A leg getting stuck out there from the Eagles and just trying to clear this away from danger. There, Ashland. This is booted up the field there from Jeffries. Right into the midfield. Here come the Eagles. Long ball to the top. Peacock gets the first touch on it. Peacock trying to shoulder out of bounds. Nice help there defensively there from Popple. The two Cincinnati natives there combining there on the far side. Yeah, just about 6 minutes left here in the second period. Just one more 30-minute period here on Falcon Radio. Is this long ball at the top looking for Ramos. Ramos in the box. Shoves off his defender. Ramos is nice save. Diving to his near post. Harrison to knock it out of bounds and deny a second Falcon goal. It's out for a narrow corner.
Yeah, Harrison has been really solid for this Falcon team thus far. And it's interesting the way that the flow of the game kind of changes with these three periods. Even though it's technically the same amount of time, almost feels longer or maybe just feels more like the game is shifting more often. And I think Ashland's just going to try to get out of this period alive, not allow any more scores, and try to tie it up in the third.
Here's Bodurov, an in-swinging ball. Popple gets his head on it and just going to put that one in frame. And one of the smallest players in the roster for Bowling Green got airborne there and just couldn't steer that one on goal.
Yeah, 5'8", the Air Force transfer, getting some air time, jumping up for that one.
And that was a header from Peacock that went all the way right to Harrison. As Ashland just has really struggled, Kevin, this game. I think the most jarring difference from our listeners has just been they're playing outside the back. The passing from the back line from Ashland to the midfield, the pacing of the ball hasn't been hit at the same pace as Bowling Green, and they've kind of just played hospital balls that get them in danger, and it's led for Bowling Green's front line to really just attack and really pick them off.
Yeah, and this was kind of the shift I think BG was hoping for. Obviously, some struggle points earlier in the game, but now you're sort of in control. You can kind of play the game at your pace and dictate things.
McCoy trying to flick that one through. It's one back here, Patasic, Sims. Here's Peacock back to Rios. Tracking this one down is Sawyer Wilbanks for Bowling Green. Getting his first minutes into this one. Wins that one and then switches it far side to Popple. Wilbanks will be playing the right wing back spot. Patasic moves into the midfield.
Good to see Wilbanks finally getting some action in this contest here.
Through ball forward looking for Patasic. And it's cut off there and goes out of bounds for another throw in for Bowling Green. So right now on the field for Bowling Green is Peacock, Rios, Sims, Popple, Christensen, Wilbanks, McCoy, Badura, Patasic, and Jason Ball and goal for Bowling Green. So this will be a long throw on the far side for Gus Peacock with about 3 minutes left to go here in the second period. He's an expert at taking these long throw-ins for the Falcons. Long ball through. It's one there initially there from Ashland. Popple gets the second bite of it. It's headed back top of the box. Still not clear convincingly. It's going to fall to the foot of McCoy. Just rolled past underneath him. And into the feet there of Harrison, who looks to play long. Punts him with his left foot. Looking for Woodward. Here is Woodward now. Woodward, a long switch here to the right wing. Can they trap this one down? They can. This is Chase Morrell. Morrell moves into the middle and just a sloppy pass. And right to the feet there of Patasic. So Patasic gets it back and rolls it right to the 18 there for Rios.
BG, it seems, is trying to slow things down, get to the end of this second period, having that 1-0 lead, especially in a game where scoring chances are kind of at a premium. It definitely puts you in control.
Here's Peacock to the left wing. Nichols urging his team up, trying to get that second goal maybe before halftime. Maybe one last chance. 2 minutes left. Here's Badurov left wing. Cuts inside. Floats it to the right side of Wilbanks inside the box. It's cleared out. And he'll be out for a Falcon throw-in.
And that was Sergio Ruiz breaking that up with the header there. The Tucson, Arizona native, 6'2", so he has the height to be able to get up there and make that play.
This will be Sims this time on the long throw in here, now with about 1:30 left and counting down to try to get the second goal on the board for the Falcons. So both outside center backs here on long throw duties. Here is Sims. Long throw and looking for Peacock, and getting his foot on that one was Popple crashing inside. Steered that one on target. That goes right into the gloves there of Harrison.
I think a little more force there from Popple, and that shot goes in, but it was just kind of a slow shot, not a lot of momentum, and it was saved by Harrison.
Wilbanks there getting an eagle there off his game. That was Ruiz trying to pressure that one. Saavedra to Christensen in the midfield. Under a minute left to play here in the second here at Cochran Stadium. Popple on his man. Long cross, guided to the back post, but no trouble there for Harrison. Harrison a long pass. Here's Woodward. Woodward gets it back, looking to return this one to the pass there of Jimenez. It's out of play, and I think a second period, Kevin, that can be summed up with kind of back and forth. Maybe not as good as attacking first half for Bowling Green, but just a handful of mistakes from the Eagles, and Berdura finally made Bowling Green make them pay.
For sure, and in a game where you're sort of struggling to create chances, anytime the other team sort of hands you a gift and hands you low-hanging fruit, that's definitely something you got to take, and BG was able to do it.
And that's how this second period will come to a close. We have one more 30-minute period here for this preseason friendly between Bowling Green and Ashland. 1-0 Falcons is your score over the Eagles. A goal from Raiko Berdura is so far the difference. We'll take a quick break, and we'll bring you the final 30-minute action right here. Listen to BGSU Men's Soccer on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
I'm Tyler Kavlich from the Falcon Media Sports Network. BGSU's biggest annual fundraising event, One Day, is nearly here. Falcon Media Sports Network and BG Falcon Media rely on donations from One Day to continue to be the gold standard for student media coverage. Your support from One Day has allowed me to continue beat coverage of BGSU baseball, men's basketball, and football, and travel to numerous states to cover BGSU athletics with state-of-the-art equipment. Any donation, even just $5, will go a long way in supporting and funding BG Falcon Media and Falcon Media Sports Network, with 100% of the donations supporting student media at BGSU, including funding for our equipment, travel, and other day-to-day expenses in our year-round coverage of Falcon athletics. The official giving period is from 6 a.m. on March 25th to 6 p.m. on March 26th. However, the early giving period is open. To donate, go to bgsu.edu/oneday and select the Falcon Media Fund. Isaac.
BGSU graduating senior defenseman Jackson Niedermeyer was born into the sport of hockey as the son of NHL legend Scott Niedermeyer. While he would follow in his father's footsteps by playing the same sport as his legendary father, Jackson Niedermeyer would blaze his own trail in the ranks of college hockey. Niedermeyer's college career would see him play for the Arizona State Sun Devils before transferring to Bowling Green, while playing as both a forward and a defenseman for both teams at different parts of his career. During his time in the Orange and Brown, Niedermeyer appeared in 65 games and scored 25 points, including 5 goals and 12 assists in his final season. Following the end of the BGSU hockey season, Niedermeyer signed a contract to join the Tulsa Oilers of the ECHL. To read more about Niedermeyer's story, go to bgfalconmedia.com. This has been 60 Seconds with Falcon Athletics.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate.
Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Falcon softball kickstarts a 3-game weekend series on the road against Western Michigan on Friday, March 20th at 3 p.m. Check out the recap of the series opener by Falcon Media Sports Network softball beat reporter Ben Korak on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Hey Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
I'm Nate Henners from the Falcon Media Sports Network. BGSU's biggest annual fundraising event, One Day, is nearly here. Falcon Media Sports Network and BG Falcon Media rely on donations from One Day to continue being the gold standard for student media coverage. As the Falcon Radio Operations Manager, Falcon Media has allowed me to gain real broadcasting experience, from hosting shows on air to producing live sports broadcasts and managing and programming a radio station. Any donation, even just $5, goes a long way in supporting and funding BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network, with 100% of donations supporting student media at BGSU, including funding for our equipment, travel, and other day-to-day expenses in our year-round coverage of Falcon athletics. The official giving period is from 6 a.m. on March 25th to 6 p.m. on March 26th. However, the early giving period is open. To donate, go to bgsu.edu/oneday and select the BG Falcon Media Fund.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark, and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
BGSU men's golf heads south to South Pittsburgh, Tennessee for the Sweens Cove Intercollegiate from Monday, March 23rd through Wednesday, March 25th. Check out the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sports Network's Foster Rostai on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Join the Zig Zone Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Perfect timing, Nate Henners, our ball operator in the studio. The third period just got underway with that whistle. Luke Kleinmeyer, Kevin Hutchinson alongside with you here for the third period. 1-0 Bowling Green over Ashland is your score. A goal from Ryko Bodurov off the assist from Tyson McCoy in the second period is the difference. Bowling Green going from left to right this entire game, actually going from right to left on your radio dial, Kevin, and we'll see if Bowling Green can potentially add to their lead, or we'll see if Ashland can make what would be a pretty impressive comeback.
Yes, it definitely would be, especially since Bowling Green was really able to turn up the heat there in that second period and sort of assert control in this game. I think you're going to see a very aggressive Ashland team trying to take as many chances as they can to tie this up.
For Bowling Green, Will Schutte is in goal, which is a first in a long time in his Falcon career. We'll talk with Eric Nichols post-game, but all three keepers for Bowling Green seeing action as this ball through will give the Eagles through on goal here. In the box, weaving their way, looking for Ortiz. It's cleared right to Woodward. A shot is blocked. With a missed pass there from Rios. And he cleared away, and some emergency defending needed to be done there for Bowling Green.
What a crucial block there, because Woodward is not the one you want taking a shot if you're Bowling Green. He had 8 goals last season. Very effective striker. And so BG able to prevent that.
So Will Shudu will be in goal. It's the same back line with Saul Rios, Gus Peacock, and Xavier Sims. For Bowling Green, Mats Christensen, Saavedra, Aiden Patasic in the midfield. Bodurov and Idin Ibrahimovic will be the strikers, so McCoy gets a breather. Popple and Sawyer Wilbanks will be on the respective wings for Bowling Green. And how about Will Shudu? He fought through injury. Now, 2 seasons really, if we're going back to it. Colerain, Ohio native, played at Colerain High School in Cincinnati. Had a couple of huge games, and injuries have kind of been a story really of his collegiate career so far, and now he's getting 30 minutes to really prove himself.
Yes, indeed. I think this is a crucial opportunity here for Shudy. Going to see how he does.
Saavedra, long switch from the right side all the way to the left wing for Popple. Popple brings it down. Popple inside the box, cuts it on his right foot. Popple brings it back. Mads Christensen. Gives this one back to Popple, looking to break down the Eagles' backline once more. He'll switch this one all the way to Wilbanks. And Wilbanks will recycle this one all the way back to Rios. So Nichols really emptying and going deep into his roster, into his bench, and giving all his players some minutes here in this one with about 27 minutes left to play with a 1-0 lead. Saavedra gets tackled there from behind. No foul called. Here's Rios by the center circle. And he gives this one to Peacock. Peacock into Popple. Popple now will give this one back to Sims. And almost like no press now being provided from Ashland. You'd wonder if they're starting to tire a little bit. Playing 60 minutes against the D1 team. Badurov stumbles over the ball. Gets it right back. Here's Rios. Peacock looking long once again. Trying to get this one to Badurov. It's flicked on the top of a head for the Eagles and headed right back to Harrison.
As you said, Eric Nichols sort of giving everybody a chance here to play, and he'll be entering his 18th season as the Falcons head coach this fall. Pretty incredible to see such a long-tenured coach. Kind of a rarity now with how college sports have been these past five or so years, but Eric Nichols has been in it for the long haul.
He has almost 2 decades serving as the dean, really, of BGSU men's soccer, and he's seen championships, he's seen wins, losses, he's seen all kinds of things. He's been a part of the program's first NCAA tournament win against Louisville, where his son, Cale Nichols, scored the goal. As this ball breaks down into Woodward. Ashland now on the attack. That was a 1-2 play. That's Grant Kolinsky. And the Eagles now going in their bench a little bit and playing some players that were on their bench as well. Here's Kolinsky again. Noah Brock is also in the midfield as well for the Eagles. It's passed through that is dealt with there from Peacock now into the hands of Popple. Popple, Ibrahimovic, heavy first touch. Able to hold off the defender. Christensen gets it right back. And Rios will get this one all the way up to Sims again on the ball. Here's Ibrahimovic. It's to Wilbanks. The 2 freshmen right now, and obviously sophomores next year collaborating on the far side, giving right back to Ashland. Ball to the top here for Peacock. Get all the way back to Will Shudy.
Even though he is sort of buried at third on this depth chart for the Falcons, Shudy definitely has some goalkeeping chops, played with Cincinnati United Premier, and he is a 3-time All-Greater Miami Conference during his high school days, so definitely able to step up when the moment requires it.
Here's Wilbanks on this near side. Sims. Here's Saavedra. Yeah, almost everyone behind the ball for the Eagles. Here's Wilbanks. Wilbanks crossing the box, not clear completely. Still not for Ashland, and now they find deals it away. Here's Rios. Nice little nutmeg there in the midfield. Rios Trying to flick this through to Wilbanks. Nice flying challenge there from Clark to get it away from Wilbanks initially. Clark gets it back there and just aimlessly cleared right into the feet there of Sims. It's back to Wilbanks. And Bowling Green just moving at a much faster pace as Eagles there just slowly moving from side to side here in this one in the final 30 minutes. Here's Peacock. It's back to Rios. And now Saavedra. Saavedra gets to the Peacock once more. Still looking Bowling Green to get that insurance goal, that second goal. We'll see what time, if the goal does come here in this last period.
Although the Falcons do only have about 22 minutes that they're going to have to hold this 1-0 lead. Although, as you said, I think you definitely want to score another one and kind of wrap things up here if you can.
Saavedra looking long. Ibrahimovic tracking this one down, gets his foot on this one back to Sims. Wilbanks will play back and looking to make a run down the right channel. Sims didn't see him. They'll give it back to Rios. Peacock to Saavedra once more. Saavedra got his eyes up. Right wing here, Wilbanks. And again, just really no intensity really from Ashland being provided on the press. And Sims has all the time here on the ball to really direct and find his options. But Bowling Green's still looking to go sideways and backwards here just to keep the ball, but not wanting to lose it.
And maybe this is conjecture, Lucas, but Ashland looking a little bit tired from my perspective here. I think, Spring League, you're still trying to play yourself into game shape, and maybe a little bit of a struggle there from the Eagles side.
Saavedra trying to play this one through to Wilbanks. Clark there trying to get out of a pickle, and he does, and just flicking that one off the Wilbanks for a goal kick.
Kind of interesting about head coach Nick Roberts of Ashland University. He was a 1994 graduate of Mercyhurst, which is in Pennsylvania, sort of near where I'm from. His record as Ashland's coach, 44, 44, and 14. So he is right at 500 as Ashland's coach.
And we mentioned it was kind of a disappointing season for them last year. They were pretty winless down the stretch. If you go back and look at their games, and if you go to their final 5 of the season, they tied Lake Erie, Walsh, Tiffin, Findlay, and Cedarville. If you go back, they had one win really in their final 9, and the only win came against Northwood. So it was a pretty disappointing campaign really in 25, and looking to really just get back on track there. Not even just 500 play, but also just competitive as well.
Yes, definitely. And I think you got to do a lot of soul searching after you have a rough season, and you got to figure out what wasn't working and what you need to adjust. And I think Eric Nichols on the Falcon side and Roberts on the Ashland side, these are two coaches who have seen a lot in their careers, and they're going to try to make those changes.
Here's Popple. Looking for an option here. This one is Sims. Sims looking for Popple, just mishits the pass, and Sims holding down the back of his left calf. It might need a sub here. Again, there's really no defenders here for Bowling Green to get. Sims falls down, and we flow to get up. Might be a little bit of cramps here. Still with it, Ashland. Clark gives it right into the path there, Christensen. So they'll recycle all the way back here to Will Schutte and the Rios. We'll see if Sims does come out. They play Christensen, who's played defense back there. It's obviously just a friendly game, so you don't want any of your key players really to sustain maybe a long-term injury.
For sure.
Sims looking long. Christensen couldn't get the second ball. Ibrahimovic trying to pressure. It'll still remain with the Eagles, and they'll pass this one all the way back to Harrison.
And you look at Christensen, team captain last fall, not really expecting that to change this fall, given how many young players there are on this team.
Here come the Eagles with some numbers. Here's Clark. Clark on the left wing. One-on-one with Sims. Hayden Clark into the box. Clark knocked off there from Sims and trying to flick that one near post, and it's no trouble there from Will Shooty, who covered that up at his near stick.
That was definitely a good chance for Ashland to try to knot this thing up with less than 20 minutes remaining, but just no dice.
Apple with a lot of time and space, and he gets kind of just tripped up on that right wing.
Interestingly, with this Falcon team, this probably won't be the complete roster they work with in the fall. Might be some transfers who come in or some new recruits. So it'll be interesting to see how the roster evolves between now and September.
Well, there's a couple more forwards coming in that they announced. One today, Lucas Brinkman, forward from Lewis Center, Ohio, and then Josh Peterson, also a forward from Illinois, was the Illinois High School Player of the Year. So they have a couple of really nice freshmen coming in, especially in the attack. It's going to be a very young team next year, especially on the front lines. You're going to have a lot of young players. That's now 4 on your front line. They're all going to be sophomores or below. Popple, cross inside the box, takes a deflection. Christensen stays with it, kind of shoved off, and scooped up there from the Eagles.
And that's a double-edged sword. You talk about the youth that the Falcons are going to have on that front line. I mean, on the one hand, it's going to be a steep learning curve, but on the other hand, if Coach Nichols can build something successful, he can maintain it for 2 or 3 years, which is definitely a positive.
Ashland again trying to break Bowling Green down. They can't, and it goes all the way back to Shooty. Shooty would get this one to Sims. Sims looking for an option, and there's just so much time on the ball. He almost should stop his foot on the ball. As no Eagle is pressuring him. They get this one to Christensen, who was one of the captains last year with Schaefer and Terry, and he's obviously going to be a captain into next year. So there's 2 captain spots open for Bowling Green. So Christensen obviously being the main one this spring. We'll see who Nichols appoints for those 2 roles. You have a couple of upperclassmen, Worthy, Pasek, looking to chip this one forward to Badura. It's knocked down and right to an Eagle. And Ashland looking to play away, and that pass just cut off there from Wilbanks. Wilbanks get this one all the way to Cerveja. We have just about 15 minutes left in this one. Still 1-0 Bowling Green off of Rako Badura goal in the second period. Has been the difference. Obviously playing 3 30-minute periods here in this friendly. Popple, Badura will cross, looking for Christensen, who made a run forward and just couldn't gain any sort of power on it. Now, Ashland looking to go quick. Ashland gets this one out to Rodri Jimenez. Jimenez here works his way left wing on the side. Popple dispossesses Woodward with it. And Sims, nice piece of defending there to just shrug off the attacker. Pasek to Christensen. Got 3 more Falcons ready to check back into this game. Here's Wilbanks. Badura. So Badura, shrugging off one challenge. Badura inside the box. Badura lays it off. Wilbanks. And offside flag will go up on Wilbanks. And here come the Falcons. I believe that is Ramos, McCoy, and Ramirez for Bowling Green all coming back in.
Offsides were definitely a big issue for BG in that first period. If we remember, there were 4 offsides calls in that 30-minute chunk alone. That's another one. So definitely something Coach Nichols is going to want to work on with this team, is trying to cut down on those, especially when the games start to matter in the fall.
So it will be Pasek, Bodurov, and we'll see here, I believe, Popple, and those will be the 3 that come out for Bowling Green. Ramirez will go to the right wing. Wilbanks will be on the left wing, and McCoy Ibrahimovic will be up top with Ramos as the attacking midfielder. Ramos, Ramirez there, tracking it from behind. Nice piece of tackling there from Ramos. Ramos gets it back to the fresh Ramirez. Ramirez with some speed on his favorable right foot now. Ramirez crossing the box, looking for McCoy. And he couldn't see that one on frame. It's out of bounds, and it will be a goal kick.
That one felt like it was going to connect. You could almost feel that was going to be knocked in there by McCoy, but just no dice. Chance to put this game away, but it goes up empty.
Some pressure being provided once again for Bowling Green. This is floated right to the foot of Ramirez. Here's Ramos. Dispossessed again in the midfield. This is taken away here from Noah Brock. Noah Brock bringing this one up. And cut off well there from Sims. Sims looking to spread. Nice through ball forward for McCoy. Putting this one through. Saavedra trying to cut the line off. Couldn't do so. Here's Rodri Jimenez. Flow this one to the back post. Headed away. Here's Clark on it. Hayden Clark's shot is blocked. That was off Ramirez. Right to the feet now. McCoy, and Bowling Green survives once again. Here's Ramirez. A lot of time and space here on this right flank. And just a sloppy pass there. Going to connect with either Ibrahimovic or McCoy. And the Eagles now with just over 10 minutes left here in this third period. Still down 1-0, looking to finish this one out. Bowling Green trying to get that second goal.
And I think hard not to be impressed with the play from Sims today. He's been solid with possession and dribbling the ball all day, and I think he's made a favorable impression on Coach Nichols for sure.
Here comes Woodward for Ashland, and a shot is blocked, and you're just talking about Sims. He comes up with a huge block there inside the 18. And now they'll get a foul on Peacock. A little too much action there, shoulder to shoulder. And a free kick in a promising position on that far corner flag, right by the Cochran Stadium scoreboard. Here coming up here with about 11 minutes and 30 seconds left here in the third.
Yeah, and with that foul, I'm thinking this has been a friendly match that has felt like a real match with the physicality, the intensity. You got to give the guys credit for still putting out full effort, even if they don't have to. I mean, we saw a red card earlier on, so it's been a chippy game for sure, and you definitely see the competitive spirit from both of these teams.
So a free kick on the way here for Ashland. Driven in low, not dealt initially, top of the box, and it is booted over the top from Roy Mendoza. And they couldn't clear it. McCoy was late to the initial ball, and Mendoza just couldn't put that one on frame.
Yeah, that one flies into the trees behind the fence. And Mendoza, the native of North Logan, Utah, bit far afield from Bowling Green. He spent some time at Laramie County Community College, and he's trying to make an impact on this Ashland team this upcoming season.
Rios can get that header. Wilbanks does. Ramos. Christensen gives it to McCoy, and offside flag will go up. And it's been a handful of offsides for the young attackers for Bowling Green.
Yeah, that's definitely plagued the Falcons in this game, just issues with, timing those attacks and making sure the spacing is all kosher and ready to go, and something they're going to want to work on here over the spring.
Ramirez dispossesses the initial ball. Clark with it. In some danger. Ramirez picking that one away from Clark once again. Sends their loose touch. Trying to get this one all the way back. Rios got in the way of it and just has to slide and clear it out of bounds.
Less than 10 minutes remaining here in this second friendly matchup for the Falcons. And I think you've seen some players step up, as we talked about Sims. I think definitely Bodorov with the Falcons' lone goal. And you've even seen Tyson McCoy get some good looks, even though he wasn't able to connect. So I think Coach Nichols and the coaching staff definitely getting a better idea of who they're going to trust this fall.
Long throw in the box for Ashland. Dealt with from Bowling Green. Ibrahimovic tracking it down. Goes right to Brock. And there's still time here, under 10 minutes to go here, 8:45 on the clock, to see if Ashland can potentially get a game-tying goal. And we'll see if Bowling Green, who is a team that struggled last season to get shutouts, no matter who is in net. Let's see if they can get a team shutout with 3 different keepers and the same back 3. Ashland on the attack once more here on the right wing. This is Jimenez. Long cross in the box looking for Woodward. It's off of Sims, I believe. Clark tracking it down. He'll keep this one in play. Defended by Ramirez. Mendoza. Left-footed cross. A lot of arc on that ball. Not a lot of direction. Badurov gets it back out to Ibrahimovic. And Ibrahimovic gives this one to Ramos. And Ramos is dispossessed now. So some defending to do with 100 minutes to go here for Bowling Green. Inside the box. Again, Ashland. Sloppy. Ramos gets it to Ibrahimovic. McCoy. And that one just hit off of Ruiz and out of bounds.
Yeah, McCoy has made his presence known, but obviously with young players, there are still things that you want to see worked on. But I think definitely promising from him, and he's going to be a big piece of this 2026 team.
That's Ibrahimovic and a tussle. Even with Terry on the roster last year, Ibrahimovic was just slightly bigger by like half an inch and didn't really see, only played 1 game against Wright State. 2 kind of big man up top, and you can kind of see Kevin a little bit with the 2 strikers. McCoy is the Painter replacement, and Ibrahimovic right now might be the Terry replacement, just in terms of how they look and personnel, but also just how they play on the field.
Definitely, and that's something you got to figure out, the coaching staff, how to assemble those puzzle pieces and create sort of a cohesive team that works.
Crossing to the box there from Rios, looking for McCoy on the back post, and just couldn't connect as it goes out of bounds.
Interestingly, too, we've had a decent crowd here today. We've had plenty of people in the bleachers. I think a lot of Ashland family, some BG fans as well.
Yeah, they all made the trip up to Bowling Green.
It is about an hour and a half drive, so not terrible, especially by Midwest standards.
Sims another good step in there defensively. Him and Christensen just not on the same page. They'll get this one all the way back. Long ball to the top and to nobody except right to the feet of Rios. Now some pressure being provided. Schutte gets it to Sims. Sims with a lot of time. No midfield for Bowling Green. They look long. Sims going to spread this one and just a bit too strong there for McCoy.
Getting to about 5.5 minutes remaining in this game. Some of the fans who were here earlier in the contest did end up leaving, but we still have some people. You can see some cars passing on I-75 past the Deutsch, which runs parallel to Cochran Stadium here.
Well, it's interesting enough, Kevin, there's a handful of Cochran crazies behind the goal for Bowling Green. Might have made their way over from the baseball game. Baseball obviously having their home opener today against Ohio.
On the renovated Stellar Field.
Yes. First game with turf, new lights, the whole shebang. $3.4 million fun project. Todd Cavlett did a good story on bgfalconmedia.com, the in-depth reporting of how that all came to be.
Yes, he did.
Here's Rios down his left channel. Just has to knock it out of bounds. That was Grant Kolinsky under 5 minutes ago, providing some pressure for the Eagles.
That's been a big factor in this game for the Eagles, trying to get that pressure, trying to force the ball outside and regain possession. They've been able to do that a few times here, and this might be their last chance, or at least their last good chance, to try to get a score with this throw-in.
Sims is down with some cramps now on the edge of the box, so they'll stop the clock. And Sims will be stretched out by a couple of teammates, and a call for the trainer. It's interesting enough because there's not really another center back per se on this roster for Bowling Green, so you have to put someone else in that isn't their natural spot. Sims obviously a redshirt freshman, just played a handful of minutes off the bench last year. He's not used to playing a full 90 minutes, and that's what he's had to do here with a couple breaks.
Yeah, for sure. It's easy to forget how difficult that is as a spectator, but usually a player doing that, you can run up to several miles just in the span of a 90-minute game, and understandable why he'd be cramping up in that situation.
It appears Aiden Patasek will come in, so might see a move to the back line for Matt Christensen. He's played there before, especially during his first season in 2023 with the Falcons. Sims is still on the ground being attended to, but he's been excellent tonight, really. Just defensively, his timing of his interceptions, his passes, he's been all over the place for Bowling Green.
Yeah, I would argue he's actually been the Falcons' star player, even though Bodorov scored the lone goal. Sims just has been able to make an impact on the game. You talk about being able to make an impact even if you don't score, and he has definitely created that for Bowling Green, and I think he should be very pleased with the performance he's given.
Reminds me a lot of Joey Apononu, who was a defender for Bowling Green in 2022, was drafted at the first round by SC Cincinnati, went on playing professionally with the Charleston Battery in USL. Definitely a very similar profile in just how they read the game. And if he's on the same trajectory, that is a really good player. Apononu, one of the best players in program history and one of the best defenders for the Falcons. And Sims now off to his feet, and we'll head off to the touchline.
Here's some applause from the crowd. Probably some BG fans just appreciating his performance today. And as you said, we do have some Cochran crazies there behind the net. It looks to be 4 of them, and they did come over from baseball to enjoy the rest of this game.
Top of the 18, Lewinsky. Ashland couldn't get on it. Nice through ball. Tyson McCoy is through. One man to beat, and that's the keeper. McCoy inside the box, and he's brought down from behind. Last defender should be our second red card of the game. And indeed it is.
Not just 1 red card, but 2 red cards in a friendly. Talk about an intense matchup, and McCoy was right there on the breakaway. But what an interesting turn of events, especially for a spring match.
We'll see who that was, and it was a great through ball. McCoy, one of the fastest players on the pitch, and it was an easy one nonetheless there, and just pulled the jersey, pulled the arm, and he was brought down and right outside the box. So if he was inside, it would have been an upcoming penalty kick for Bowling Green. They'll say he was just outside, right top of the 18.
Interesting with McCoy, he played for the Michigan Wolves in MLS Next, and he played in an all-star game at IMG Academy down in Florida and was the MVP of that game. So IMG brings those elite athletes, and he was the MVP.
Rios will tip it off to Patasek. His shot is blocked outside the wall, and it'll be a corner kick coming up with 3 minutes to go here. What do we say, Kevin? This was a competitive game, and meant it would be down to 9 men for the Eagles, and it'd just be 8 field players. But now with 2 red cards, they still remain with a full 11.
For sure, it's been competitive. I think if you showed film of this game to someone and didn't tell them it was a friendly, I don't think they would know. I think 2 red cards, it felt like a real game, and both these teams really trying to make their presence felt.
Corner kick from Rios, and swinging ball is just a bit too much, and it curves out of bounds. So goal kick coming up with just about 2 minutes left to play. Still 1-0 Bowling Green off of a Badurov goal, which right now is the game winner. Long goal kick on the way. Will Banks heads this one down inside a pass. Gets the second ball back. McCoy's offside.
Yet another offside for the Falcons. Haven't kept an exact count, but that is 10. That is 10 offsides for Bowling Green. Definitely not a good stat.
Here come the Eagles with an attack. Clark with some space here on this wing. It's Ramirez who's gone down as one of the center backs for Bowling Green. Inside the box, wide open header, and it's turned on goal, but covered up from Schutte. That was redirected from Mendoza. And it wasn't anything powerful to really prohibit Schutte, but he makes another big save. Now we're down to about a minute. A minute to play here at Cochran Stadium. Still nothing Bowling Green. Patasek trying to feed this one through. Saavedra through ball to Ibrahimovic, and he's just going to keep that one in play.
I think another impressive player today, Saavedra, even though he hasn't made eye-popping plays, he's kind of been everywhere today.
Long ball over the top, looking for Rios. They'll get a foul on Ashland on Rios, and that's just about do it here with about 22 seconds left out and counting.
And it looks like BG going to get their first victory of the Spring League season, coming off that 1-1 tie against the Wolverines last week. Obviously, some things to be improved on, but overall, you get to enjoy the win.
So this clock is just going to wind down as they wait for a ball, and that's how Bowling Green will come away victorious. A goal in the second period off a mistake. Rego Badurov capitalizing it off an assist from Tyson McCoy is the difference. A 1-0 win here at Cochran Stadium and a shutout from 3 different goalkeepers for Bowling Green.
Yeah, definitely overall a good performance for the Falcons. I think those 10 offsides, definitely something you want to clean up, and I think something Nichols is going to focus on. But overall, several players doing well with this audition. Bodorov, Sims, I would argue Saavedra and McCoy as well, showing out in this Spring League action.
So that's going to do it for us here at Falcon Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in for our first radio broadcast for men's soccer. Here this Spring League, Bowling Green wins 1-0 over Ashland. They will face Ohio State here next Friday, right here at 7 p.m. at Cochran Stadium for the second game of College Spring League action. Make sure to follow bgfalconmedia.com and at BG_FMSN for all news surrounding BGSU men's soccer. So for our board operator, Nate Henders, for my broadcast partner, Kevin Hutchinson, I'm Lucas Clymer saying so long. Bowling Green takes on Ashland 1-0 here at Cochran Stadium.
This broadcast has been a Falcon Media Sports Network production. For more BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter X at BG_FMSN, BG Falcon Media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and head over to BGFalconMedia.com.